Today, we're gonna be looking at music in Dispatch as a storytelling tool, how the 80s era inspired it, why it fits the game so perfectly, and why Prism's theme would actually be a club song. My name is Michael, I'm an EDM producer and video game composer. Let's get into it. Before we get into the music stuff, let me remind you what the game is about, without spoiling it if you haven't played it yet. It will help you understand why the music sounds the way it does. The video game takes place in a universe where superpowers exist. You play as Robert. He is sort of a Tony Stark, a guy with lots of money who chose to spend it all on a fancy suit to fight crime. After an accident, you are tasked with turning a dysfunctional team of villains into a dream team. So how does it affect the music in the game? You see, the goal of music in video games and films is to support whatever it is that you see on the screen, and the overall theme of this game is a little bit retro. For example, despite the technologies that they have, they still use computers that look like they were made in the 80s. On top of that, the modern age of comic books began in 1985, and in my opinion, that is one of the reasons why music in this game sounds the way it does. Let's listen to an example I made. Just like the music in the 80s, it has a layer of organ, a layer of synth, and a lot of plugs. Plugs are short sounds. What really drives it home and gives it a true 80s style vibe is the drum beat, inspired by the golden age of disco music. It makes you feel like you're in the late 20th century surrounded by blinding lights. Take a listen. The song isn't really fast, because for example, it is easier to imagine driving down a coastline with your dream team to a slower song. It gives music that laid-back, nostalgic feeling of the good old times. Not always, but most of the time it works perfectly. Here is an example using the same song but played at different tempos. But something is missing, and that something is bass. Back in the day, bass lines were pretty simple, not as heavy as they are in modern songs. Today, even when we make something that sounds old school, we use modern bass styles which sound thick and heavy, kind of like a wall of sound. That's what gives the music in Dispatch that modern slick sound, but keeps it thematically in the 80s. Take a listen. But not all music in Dispatch is like that. For example, one of the characters is called Prism. She doesn't have a father and may seem aggressive on the surface, but that's only because she had to learn how to defend herself and stand on her own throughout life.
I never had a dad.
I know.
Fuck that's supposed to mean?
You told me one time you didn't have a dad.
Huh?
That's why hip-hop is so fitting for this character, because hip-hop is all about energy, punchlines, and flow, which complement the character nicely. On top of that, the voice actress of the character is actually a rapper by the stage name of Thot Squad. The studio even licensed a few of her songs to use in the game. If you've played the game, you probably remember the bar fight scene with the "We blind forever" joke.
She temporarily blinded me!
What you mean temporarily? Bitch, you blind forever!
In terms of hip-hop instrumentals, it's somewhat easy to make a club-ready hip-hop song. Most of the time, the genre relies heavily on heavy bass, punchy drums, and of course simple yet catchy melodies. Here is an example. It's very simple, repetitive, and takes inspiration from club music, yet it's still a hip-hop song made to complement the character and the scene. But what if we took it a little further and turned the original song by Thot Squad from the scene into an actual character theme? I think a club rap song would do perfectly. Club music has a lot of subgenres, just like hip-hop, so video game composers have to identify the right subgenre that would fit the scene. In this case, given the character's personality, it has to be slick, punchy, a bit braggy, slightly aggressive, and of course energetic. Here is how that personality description sounds like if we turn it into a musical rhythm. Now we can bring the original vocals from the song, add drums for the groove, and enjoy the reimagined theme of Prism. Well, as much as we can, because that's not the official a cappella, so the vocal quality is not top-notch.
These hoes can't address me. Bank account, that's my bestie. RTA is
But not all moments in this game are like that. What if it's a cutscene with a beautiful view of a sunset after a dialogue between the main characters, or an important event? We still need to make it sound nostalgic, as if you're tired and mentally exhausted. But if in the first example it was the drums that made the song feel old school, upbeat drums would ruin the mood in such a beautiful scene. So how did they do that without drums? For situations like that, the video game composer used the magic of big, lush synths. Here is an example. Particular sounds evoke particular emotions. In this case, the slow rise of volume and synths make them sound like a universe opening up each time a new chord is played. They sound very spacious and slow, letting you soak in the atmosphere of the moment. That makes you feel at ease and even comfortable with whatever it is that you're dealing with today. And the cherry on top is the melody with lots of echo, making it sound like a thought bouncing around your head. Take a listen. And to wrap up today's episode, how about something epic yet emotional? At the end of the day, it's a video game about superheroes. I will use a song that I wrote for the JackSepticEye's game jam. Pretty fitting if you ask me, considering that he's the voice of Punch-Up in this game.
Come on, we should get you to a hospital.
No, Coop! Fucking guy needs a dentist. I've got it on ice, should be able to reattach it.
When an epic or an emotional orchestral song is made for video games, it is usually made to highlight an important moment, a specific turning point, or a story bit. If you add epic and emotional songs all over the place, they won't hit as hard when the right moment comes. For example, imagine if Live had soundtracks, but the music supervisor wasn't really good at their job. So there you are, going grocery shopping, and an emotional orchestral song is playing while you're picking carrots. And that happens every time with the most mundane things. But then suddenly your dream comes true, whatever it is. And yet again, an emotional orchestral song comes in. Will it hit hard? Nah. That's why it's important to use the right tool for the right job. Here's an example that makes you think, yep, this moment is important. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this video, or at least found it entertaining. You can watch the previous episode of this series or join my Discord server to be the first to see future episodes. My name is Mike Hull. Stay awesome and keep making this world a better place.